This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Well, good news on the EV front. Sales of electric cars in the U.S. exceeded expectations and set a record for the second quarter. Cox Automotive reports that EV sales were up 11.3% year over year, compared to overall sales that were up only 0.1%. Automakers sold 330,463 electric vehicles, accounting for 8% of the market, up from 7.2% last year. And those sales were up even though Tesla was down. Cox Automotive estimates that Tesla sold 6.3% fewer cars in the U.S. in Q2. That's based on actual registrations, since Tesla does not break out regional sales. Most analysts are expecting EV sales to be even stronger in the second half of the year as more models, especially from GM, Honda, and Stellantis, come into the market in the coming months. And speaking of EVs, Hyundai faces an accusation that it falsified sales reports. Automotive News reports that the Napleton Automotive Group, which is a large auto retailer, filed a lawsuit against Hyundai Motor America, claiming the automaker would give them more of its fast-selling vehicles if they reported unsold EVs as part of their loaner fleet. That would artificially inflate EV sales. Hyundai Motor America says it does not condone actions like that and launched an immediate investigation. But there's bad blood between the Napleton Automotive Group and the automaker. Hyundai terminated one of Napleton's dealerships in Florida when the son of the group's owner was charged with sexual battery of an employee. UAW President Shawn Fain is being accused of seeking benefits for his fiancée and her sister. That's according to Neil Borofsky, a court-appointed monitor overseeing the union. He filed a motion yesterday revealing that he's investigating Fain over allegations from two UAW leaders, Vice President Rich Boyer and Secretary General Margaret Mock, that say Fain stripped assignments from them in retaliation for not taking actions to benefit Fain's fiancée and her sister. Borofsky is also accusing the union of not providing documents related to the investigation in a timely manner. And the filing revealed a separate investigation into an unidentified regional director, accusing them of embezzling funds. These revelations come at a horrible time for the UAW. It's trying to organize more plants in the South, including Toyota and Hyundai, and opponents of the union will no doubt use these allegations to argue that the union is still corrupt. For the first time ever, foreign automakers built more vehicles in the U.S. than the Detroit Three. According to Auto Drives America and the American International Automobile Dealers Association, foreign automakers produced 4.9 million vehicles last year in the U.S., while GM, Ford, and Stellantis assembled 4.6 million. But if you include Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid, which built more than 750,000 vehicles in the U.S. last year, it boosts vehicles made by U.S.-based companies to more than 5.3 million units. Of course, Stellantis is not an American company, and Lucid is 60% owned by the Saudis. But you should get the point we're trying to make here. Foreign automakers have significantly boosted capacity in the U.S. from 2.4 million vehicles 25 years ago to 4.9 million today, an 85% increase. During the same period, the Detroit Three's production in the U.S. has been cut in half, with much of it moving to Mexico, Canada, South Korea, and China.
Trusting tires designed for the long haul, because you'll always go the distance for friends. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Alenza tires with an 80,000-mile limited warranty.
The Volkswagen Group is on the verge of closing a car plant in Europe for the first time ever. It says it's looking at ways to restructure a plant in Belgium that makes Audi Q8 e-trons, but if no alternative is found, it will shut it down. While this will impact about 3,000 workers, it doesn't sound like the plant has a good chance of survival. Part of it has to do with location. The building is close to the city center of Brussels, so any expansion would be difficult and logistics are harder, which means its production costs are higher compared to other plants. The other part of the equation is that even Audi admits the electric SUV has seen a, quote, intensified drop in demand, and announced earlier this year that the successor to the Q8 e-tron will be built in Mexico. That's why it's hard to see a path where the Brussels site continues to build Audis. The last time that the VW Group closed a plant was its Westmoreland site in Pennsylvania in 1988. China's new energy vehicle, or NEV sales, continue to outpace the rest of the market. Last month, passenger vehicle sales topped 1.7 million units in China, down 6.7% compared to last year. Full-year results are a little bit better at over 9.8 million vehicles, up 3.3%. But NEV sales in June were over a million units, up 30%, and for the full year, nearly 5 million NEVs have been sold in China, which is a jump of 32%. On the flip side, conventional ICE and hybrid sales were down 27% last month and are down 13% for the year. A rule of thumb in the auto industry is that a car plant doesn't start turning a profit until it's producing at least 80% of the vehicles that it's capable of, or its capacity utilization rate. But according to global data, China's factories were only running at 59% last year. That means production lines were sitting idle for a lot of the time. In fact, 20% of factories made less than 1,000 cars and 17% made less than 10,000. Only 15% of car plants in China had a capacity utilization rate over 95%. But get this, those plants built nearly half of all cars in the country last year. That's part of the reason BYD, who had an 80% utilization rate, and Li Auto were the only two Chinese automakers to turn a profit on NEVs last year, while others like NIO lost about $13,750 on every vehicle it sold. Can you believe it's been this long already? In February of 2014, a 40-foot wide sinkhole opened up underneath part of the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And while some of the classic Corvettes were damaged, fortunately, the museum was closed and no one was inside when it occurred. So now the museum is commemorating the 10-year anniversary. It has an exhibit called Ground to Sky, the Sinkhole Reimagined, which runs until September 15th. It features two fully restored Vettes, a 2009 Blue Devil ZR1, a 1992 model that was the 1 millionth Corvette built, as well as other cars that were damaged when the sinkhole opened up. Autoline After Hours will be back tomorrow after being off for a week, and we'll be talking about VTOLs, or vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, with Tim Jackson, who wrote the book, Dude, Where's My Flying Car?, as well as talking about a company that's using AI to help dealers predict what cars they should order. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. MEDC, where Michigan businesses are powering the future of mobility. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
Michigan is leading the charge in mobility and innovation, and I can't think of a better state to be in.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Intrepid's NeoVi Pi, allowing automotive engineers to interface, capture, and monitor vehicle data using Raspberry Pi. As a matter of fact, it's the automotive industry's first robust platform for Raspberry Pi, featuring Intrepid CAN-FD technology and Raspberry Pi compute module. The NeoVi Pi is designed for automotive environments allowing use with relative power ranges and applications. In addition, the NeoVi Pi enables you to use the Raspberry Pi for compute while avoiding additional development to adapt to network environments. That makes the NeoVi Pi powerful enough to solve your vehicle network problems, yet small enough to fit in your backpack. One of many Intrepid tools used for developing zonal architecture and software-defined vehicles.